I'm here in Barcelona to meet the first of the 3 VW Group triplets. Now, the forthcoming ID.Polo is the sweet, fun one. The Skoda Epiq, the grown-up, practical one. This is the one that has been caught smoking round the back of the bike sheds. Meet the CUPRA Raval. Do you remember the mad CUPRA concept, the urban revel that ended up in a Forza Horizon game with about 435 horsepower? So this is basically the production version of this, without that massive spoiler on the back, because that might be a bit hard for parking around town.
It also sadly doesn't have 435 horsepower. You're going to have to settle for a max of 223, which is still pretty punchy though in a small car like this.
But you know what? I reckon you can see the vibes from that crazy concept car in this production version, particularly I think here around the front. I really like the lights. They're mounted quite high, aren't they? Now, I just want to talk to you about the badge on the front. It's such a great badge, the CUPRA badge, isn't it?
I love the illuminated CUPRA badge, which comes as part of the lighting pack. Even when it's static, it just looks like it wants to overtake something, doesn't it? It's got nice shouty details like those matrix LED headlights, flush illuminated door handles and lighting signatures front and rear. I do love a bit of good lighting.
Now, you're going to get 3 different launch editions, standard, mid-range, and of course this one, which is the Extreme. And as you can see, it is very extra. So let's have a look around it. Now, size-wise, it's about 4 metres long, so of course it's smaller than the CUPRA Born. It sits on the same platform as the ID.Polo and the Skoda Epiq, which means that this time around it's front-wheel drive. Now, of course, it shares batteries and it shares motors, so CUPRA's job has been to give this a point of difference, to give it a bit more edge. Even its name, Raval, is doing some of that work for it. So Raval is a really trendy area here in Barcelona. It's just CUPRA's way of saying, yeah, I'm way cooler than you two.
Not just the name that's cool though.
This is the coolest place I've ever been to look at a new car. Normally, they show us cars in very warm studios that are very brightly lit with bad coffee. But this is in an old factory building, a very iconic building in Barcelona. But I think the choice of venue tells you everything that CUPRA wants you to feel about this car. It's urban and it's edgy.
As are the colour choices.
CUPRA generally does really good colours, and this is another way in which the Raval stands out from its siblings. The Polo is all kind of fun and bright, and the Skoda has got slightly more grown-up colours. These are just really cool. This one I absolutely love. It's called Manganese Matte, and it is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shade of green. I adore it. There's also one coming which is an iridescent plasma, which changes depending on the light and the angle of the car, from purple to red to blue. Sounds really cool. And I think this is the first time I've seen this without that brilliant, crazy wrap on. And what is really, becoming emphasised to me, the more I look round it, is just how many different little levers CUPRA has pulled on to make sure that this really does stand out. I actually do really like the way it looks. What about you? Let us know in the comments below.
This is always the test of a car, isn't it? It seems to come with its own inbuilt wind machine. I've just got in and it's doing this. Can't turn it off. Literally. Okay, we're going to have to do the whole of the interior like this. Surely there's a way to turn it off. There it is! Okay, let's turn to the interior, and I'm going to ignore the Extreme seats in this Extreme version because they're quite extra, aren't they? And I'm going to turn to something more mundane. Switches and buttons. As Nicola said when she had a look at the ID.Polo, they are back. However, we've still got some sliders here. So we've got sliders along here for the volume control and the heating control. Okay, however, we've also got switches. things here on the steering wheel, so you can also control the volume from here. We've got physical controls, which is brilliant. Physical controls for the drive. You've got your fun CUPRA button there that's across all models, and when you press that, it all goes a bit extra and uber and really fun. But yes, I'm very pleased to see a really good blend of physical and digital controls as well. So we've got two screens. We've got a driver's screen in front of you here with all that information that you need to know. And now we've got a new operating system on the infotainment screen, so it's powered by an Android operating system for the first time. Look, I think what they've done really well in here is make an affordable car actually feel quite nice. So if I just feel some of the materials, it's nice soft touch plastics in the areas you want them to be. Yes, there's some cheaper plastics and cheaper materials hidden down the bottom, but who cares about that? The areas that you're actually going to, you know, touch and feel are nice. So let's talk about lighting, because CUPRA does lighting really well, doesn't it? And even though this is the most affordable model in the range, they haven't skimped on it. So it's got this smart lighting system. You've got lovely LED lights that, you know, different colours that come across the front of the dashboard there. But what's really lovely is when you change the different driving modes, the different dynamic modes, you get different coloured lights that appear on the side. It's just a really nice touch. I was in a CUPRA Tavascan last night coming from the airport, and it just looks great at night. And it's just those touches that are really going to set this apart. Look, it's more set up for feeling sporty in here. So you've got this central column. It kind of hugs you in as a driver. I quite like that. You've got subfloor in here. You've got wireless charging, couple of okay sized cup holders and a little storage compartment in there. It's got everything you need. Oh, and there are sounds. The sounds are great. So I've driven a prototype version. Really good. So you get 7 speakers in the standard version. You can upgrade to a Sennheiser system that gets 12 speakers. And when you go into performance or CUPRA mode, you get these brilliant sounds that fill the cabin, and they've been inspired by Formula E, because of course CUPRA has a lot of success racing in Formula E. So Nikki Shields is going to love them, I am sure. But it just adds to the drama and the point of difference that you get with the Raval. As a reminder, I am 5'4". I'm never a great judge of space in cars. So the seat in front is set for Mitch, who is 6 foot. And I'm fine actually. There's a nice scoop under the rear seats to slide my feet under. Again, ignore that my knees are quite upright because I've got high heel boots on. I suspect any taller drivers, you're going to want your shorter passenger sitting behind them. But it's actually not too bad widthways. I think you could get 3 people in here. There's not a huge amount of leg room for the person that's in the middle, but you certainly get a child in there comfortably. In terms of headroom, again, great for me. We had Mitch in here at 6 foot. He was fine. He'd have been better if he had a haircut, because his hair was just brushing on the roof, because it's you know, there's quite a lot there on top at the moment. So I reckon 6 foot is probably going to be the maximum that you'd be really comfortable travelling in the back of this. What I do like though is there's lots of good storage in here. A little compartment down there. You've got a couple of USB ports. You've got really decent sized door bins, which are handy. No door pockets though. However, the doors open really quite nice and wide. Look at that. I think that's pretty good. You're going to be able to get in and out, getting kids in and out of child seats. And on that topic, you have 2 ISOFIX points, of course you do, on the outside seats. So I think it's fine in here. Look, big tall adults aren't going to want to do long journeys in it, but it's certainly fine if you're 6 foot and under. Now, boot space is something I always want to investigate because it lets a lot of small cars down. I absolutely love the Renault 5, but you can't fit a lot in the boot. So let's have a look at this one. And while I'm here, so nice. I do love that light strip. Anyway, let's have a look in here. Okie doke. Nice wide opening. You do have a load lip that you've got to get things into. However, that's only because the floor is at its lowest level. You can move it up as well. And then you have a great compartment underneath for, you know, chucking stuff in. Now, for context, the VW ID.Polo boot space is 435 litres. This one, 430, so it's slightly smaller. Nicola, when she filmed with the ID.Polo, could fit in its boot. And she's challenged me to see if I can get in this one. Let's have a look. Look, look. easy. But yeah, I think with its subfloor for your dirty wellies and your charging cables, this stacks up well against the competition. Challenge is getting out. Ladylike way. Thank you very much. Oh, it's not got a powered tailgate. Oh, it's not very extreme, is it?
So let's run through what you get in terms of battery and range and charging. And this is where I do the usual thing and point out that WLTP is optimistic, like expecting that it's going to stop raining in the UK or that Nicola won't eat all the snacks. So the entry level is the core. That comes with a smaller 37 kilowatt hour battery. Now CUPRA is quoting a range of about 300 kilometres, 186 miles. So that's your kind of more affordable entry-level runaround. Then you've got the mid-range options. There's two, V1 and V2. And this is where I think it really starts to make a lot more sense as an everyday car, the main car in your family, because you can step up here to that bigger battery, 52 kilowatt hours. Now in this setup, CUPRA is quoting up to 450 kilometres, about 280 miles, which I think that for me really feels like a sweet spot for using this as your main car. And then the sporty one, CUPRA says it will do 0 to 100 kilometres, 0 to 62 in under 7 seconds. Now I have driven this car and it really is a lot of fun to drive, but there is a trade-off for that because the range drops off slightly to around 400 kilometres, about 249 miles. So basically the core is your kind of nice glass of water, V1 and V2, you're having a bit of a fizzy drink, and then this version, top of the range, VZ, it's your energy drink. Think of it like that.
Power, that runs from 114 horsepower up to 223 in the VZ, which will do 0 to 62 in just under 7 seconds. The VZ is properly fun. I drove an early prototype and it really did put a smile on my face. It feels nice and low, not always easy when you've got a big battery underneath. Grip really well at the corners thanks to a clever front diff, so it just felt really planted when you gave it a bit of oomph. It also gets adaptive sport suspension, and the favourite bit, paddles behind the steering wheel to control the regenerative braking, including proper one-pedal driving, which I thought was really nicely done. But if you want to get a little less sensible, you can even switch off the stability control, which is silly and fun. On papers, the numbers aren't wildly different to something like the VW ID.Polo, but CUPRA has just made this one a little bit more CUPRA. Safety-wise, it's well covered too. 7 airbags, including a central one, loads of driver aids. As always, check out our review over at electrifying.com for more info about all of that stuff.
So the Raval will arrive in the UK in summer of this year. And CUPRA have said it's going to start at £23,000. Now obviously, that's not for this one, that's for the basic version. Once you start ticking boxes and going extreme, like this one, that's going to climb. In fact, this one tops out at £37,000. However, let's go back to the entry-level basic, which even though it hasn't got all the kind of bougie extraness that this has, is still a really stylish, beautifully designed car with a big boot and great tech, and it is nice to drive. Well, I don't think £23,000 is bad for that. But of course, it's got loads of competition now, hasn't it? Renault 5, Fiat Grande, Panda, the Kia EV2, and of course its siblings. All of those are in the same school year, they're all in the same class, all with very different personalities. So my question to you is which one would you go for? I know, I see you. You were the one smoking around the back of the bike sheds, weren't you? It's this one you want.